Bonjour everyone, I am Anne-Lise Cailliez and welcome to Parlez-Vous CEO, where we teach the corporate talk and get real about entrepreneurship. Each week, I chat with founders and CEOs who build businesses their way, through the failures, pivots, and breakthroughs. And they bring the fire. Plus, I'll drop some golden nuggets of wisdom from my own entrepreneurial journey. This is your space to grow, learn, and evolve with a true growth mindset. Remember, success isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Now let's kick things off and get this party started. Hello, bonjour, hello. Welcome to another episode of Parlez-Vous CEO. My name is Anne-Lise Cailliez and I am your host, and I'm super excited to have with me Mark Ainley today. Mark is the co-founder of GC Realty Development, a Chicago property management he's been building for over 20 years. GC Realty manages more than 1,300 properties across the Chicago area, and Mark co-hosts Straight Up Chicago Investor, one of the city's top real estate podcasts. Mark, welcome. In your own words, could you tell a little bit to our listeners meeting you for the first time about your story and background?
I am a lifelong Chicagoan. Well, first off, thank you for having me on here. I definitely appreciate that. I hope I can add some value to your audience here today. But I am a lifelong Chicagoan. I moved to LA for 1 year. I realized how much I missed Chicago and I came back. But been here forever, grew up here. Our company's been running here for 23 years. We service real estate owners, investors, specifically here in the Chicago market, which I'm very grateful to be in a market this because the TAM, the total addressable market is I don't have to leave. You know, there's a lot of other property managers around the country that they have to go to different cities to grow their business, and I got plenty enough to swallow here if I could ever get that big. So, but we do property management. I'm a real estate investor myself. A lot of what we focus on is the ability to help other real estate investors on their journey. We're kind of people hire us, but ultimately we want to partner with them so we can help them achieve whatever goal they're going after in their real estate success.
Amazing. And Mark, so you've had GC since 2003, so actually 23 years, you're right. And so tell me a bit about what the business looked like today versus what you imagined when you started it.
Well, I never imagined it to be a property management company. When we first started, we wanted to be a brokerage company, and we wanted to be a commercial-only brokerage company, and we went out and realized how tough it is to get into the commercial real estate community. It's very old boys clubbish at the time. It still kind of is, but we ended up out of survival going into residential just to get to be able to eat and be able to survive. So one of the first deals we ever did was a luxury home, and we got a huge commission for it. And we're like, all we're ever going to do is luxury homes from here on out. And then ultimately, we never did that again. We never got another one. But we did, over the years, we've done thousands of transactions. Property management ultimately came about because we were selling lots of investment properties to professional investors or professionals who were investing. So the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant, they didn't have time to manage their property, and they wanted someone to pay. And that's ultimately how that started. And we really didn't even take the property management serious. Early on, it was a means to an end for me. So the first person, they're like, yeah, I'll give you $50 to do it. I'm like, perfect. Now I could get a water cooler for the office. And then the second people, they're like, well, we got 2 properties, $100. I'm like, perfect. That'll cover the electric bill. I wasn't thinking of it as a business. And I really didn't. It continued to grow organically just through word of mouth. And we never really wanted, we were out investing and all that stuff, but then we realized we had a business here. And it wasn't until about 2014 where we really started to kind of focus on it.
And so what happened then? You said 2015 when you focused on it. What was the change exactly?
Well, I remember it was probably about 2013, 14, somewhere there. My business partner came to me. He's like, man, why is everything so crazy around the office? What's going on? Everyone's pissed. This person's mad about this. And I said, Brian, we have about 250 properties. We have 500,000 square feet of commercial space that we're managing, and we don't have a process in place. So it was just chaos. But as an entrepreneur, it wasn't noticeable to me. Like a lot of entrepreneurs are okay living in chaos. And our team, as we were bringing them on, we were bringing on the team wrong as well too. So we were almost, I was explaining like a hub and spoke. So we might have had 6 or 7 people working for us, but every decision still had to come through us to get anything moving. So we didn't have any sort of structure set up. So it was just happening, and it was just growing, which was cool. I'm very grateful when I look back, because a lot of people I look at now, how do I get going? It's like, we just accidentally got going. But it was 2016, or it was right in the range of 15, where Google started becoming really popular. I Googled up property management in the town we were in. And there was only one company that came up, and it was another real estate agent in my office that was doing property management that I didn't even realize. I'm like, all right, he's the only guy in town here. We actually manage tons of properties already. If we actually even put an ad out there, like, this could be a big thing. And it's like, oh, maybe we have business. And up until that point, and I feel this is important for entrepreneurs when they get going, is we're trying to be the jack of all trades for everything. If I saw you at a networking event back in the day, I would have told you, yeah, we could sell your house. We could help you rehab it. We could mow your lawn. We could change your oil, like whatever it might be. Like any way we can make money, or maybe work with you, we do it. But in 15, we all of a sudden said, we're a property management company. Yeah, we do all these things over here, but our focus is a property management company first. That was really the shift that helped us really take off from that point to where we are today.
And so why did you decide to focus on property management and not another segment of work, of the work that you were doing?
When the market crashed, and again, we started putting the true focus of let's focus on property management, probably didn't really happen till 2017, because we realized there's a business here, and we realized we could run it a little better in 14, 15. And we realized we can actually maybe, this is something here to grow. But in the meantime, the market crashed here in the States, and we were buying properties. We were rehabbing them, and we were doing on the real estate investment side. And so our focus was there. But it really, in 2017, we said opportunity cost, right? If we focus our time and energy on growing the property management company, the returns we will get from that, growing that business, versus continuing to invest in real estate based on whatever conditions were, what we were doing, in the long run, we'd be happier. So we put a cap on what we were doing on the investing side, and we rolled into focusing on this business. And ultimately, that was called the start of 18. And that focus helped us double in size, basically 2.5 times in that time period.
And so in 2018, you made a shift and you started focusing more on sales and marketing. What did you feel triggered that?
Well, property management here in the United States is very fractured. There's a lot of small companies. I think the average company is only like 250 doors. So a lot of companies never really get to the size where, like, we need a sales and marketing team. And we were already beyond that. And we said, if we had to grow, you can only get your clients to give you so many referrals on a monthly basis. We have to advertise, put some money behind it, have some sort of formal sales process. And ultimately, if we want to grow beyond us doing those activities, I was sitting in the sales seat, we're going to have to, like, really departmentalize this. And that was where we went out and we said, you kind of started backwards, the whole marketing funnel. It's like, all right, so if we want to add this many doors or add this many clients, we got to get this many leads. So we get this many leads, we're going to have to get this many ads out. If we get this many ads out, it's how much it's going to cost. So we kind of reverse engineered it to where we wanted to grow, to how we had to go call it a marketing plan.
And so if you were to start now a property management and solely focus on that, what would you recommend people to start as marketing activities? I'm new, I'm Anne-Lise, I'm like, I really want to start a property management company in New York. What should I do?
Yeah, so I was very naive. So I started focusing on 18, and this in 18, 19. But I was really looking for a silver bullet. I was looking for the who. One of my favorite books is Who Not How. But I was looking for the who to come in and just like, do this work for me, and I'll pay you. And when I say work, it was like some sort of like templated like structure, and that didn't exist. And I didn't have a marketing background at the time. I still don't, but I wasn't thinking like a marketer. I wasn't. But while I was looking for that silver bullet, I just started doing these small things. I started making sure, the Google reviews, our Google page, our reputation. When you Google our company, or when you Google me, because a lot of times when a company's smaller, they might not know the company name, but they know the company owner. I was called the face at the time, and Googling me, make sure there's nothing on there that could hurt or help. Make sure there's, in all the different business directories that are out there when you Google, make sure all our profiles on the BBB page and Thumbtack and all those places are showing up. So a lot of that, and then it turned into our website. How do you, I can only drag so many people to our website, a lot of people are going to organically find it. So creating the content that you can put up there. And again, we weren't even that good at that back then, but we were at least figuring out how to put things on our website to keep people on there. It was getting into video. People, and today people still are not big enough into video when it comes to marketing as I think they could be on their websites and all this stuff, but just making sure as many pages we could create content for, we were putting the videos up there. So a lot of that low hanging fruit ended up being around reputation and starting that SEO build. And the SEO piece is one of those things that you can't just go put $1,000 or $5,000 behind and start getting results. It's a slow drip for building the SEO side of things, which now we put a lot of effort into the SEO side of things. That's now converted a lot of our success so far into the AI world, where a lot of the stuff we have out there is now being picked up by bots and people are getting directed to us. So that was probably the biggest thing that we did that I didn't realize that positive consequence that we'd have with it.
And so did you do your SEO in-house or did you outsource that?
We definitely outsourced it. We outsourced it to we worked with a marketing company that specialized in SEO for our industry at the time. And we did a lot of the legwork, but they gave us a lot of the guidance. Now, at that time, I didn't really know much about marketing, so I was taking their word for it. I was building out whatever they said, and which I didn't mind. It's like, all right, you do this, this, and this, and you'll get better results. So I just attacked that this, and this.
And so it sounds like you really focus on having the basics down at first and the foundations like SEO, reviews, listings. And then you went into the more, I don't want to say flashy stuff, but content, podcast. Is that something you would recommend to most property management company to do? Or do you feel that you really need to be comfortable going on camera, you need to like content, you need to have a certain personality in order to do that well?
Well, I think yes and no, right? I think anybody, even outside of our space, most industries still, most entrepreneurs are still afraid that you get on a camera like this, even on like a podcast like this, right? People are afraid they're going to say the wrong thing. People are going to judge you. And the cool thing that I remember now, and I wish I would have had this as a trigger back then, is like, nobody else cares. If you make a video tomorrow and I watch it and it's imperfect, I'm probably not going to care. Like, I'm probably never going to notice what you're actually worried about. And the whole saying is like, no one cares about you because they're too worried about themselves. And that helps me kind of, hit record, put something out there. It's like, should I record it again? It's like, no one really cares. Boom, let's put it out there. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some things I messed up, or if something's factually wrong, you got to redo it. But when it comes down to, was it the right angle? Was the lighting right? Is my hair perfect? Should I shave? Should I not have? Like, all those things are just so minor to what the consumer, what ultimately is going to help you do it. So my advice is to answer your question is more of yes, and yes. Yes, you should start getting out there and doing video faster. If I could have done it, I would have done it. There was a popular book at the time called, it was going around our industry. They ask, you answer. And it was all about just having videos and content around what your particular customer is going to ask. That guy that wrote the book, he was a pool guy. So he went online, and even the pools he didn't make, he didn't sell concrete pools, I think, but he had all these questions and answers around pools, because when people were Googling that or searching that, they'd end up on his website. And so we did a lot of that. But if I could go back again, I would do tons of videos around that, because there was so much we could have added that it just adds another layer of SEO benefits. And it just adds another, if someone does want to read it, they'll stay on your website and watch it for 3 minutes, or watch the video for 7 minutes, or whatever it might be. So, and the last part of your question was around podcasting. Podcasts does so many other things for a business than just the actual podcast itself. So you and me are on this podcast right now, and you have somewhere where you'll put it. But ultimately, the benefits of chopping this up and putting it 6 different places, the benefit of when you talk with a client or a customer or a potential, you could be known as the marketing person with the podcast or whatever it might be. A lot of people introduce me as the guy with the podcast that does property management. So that's huge. It's almost like an entryway. And when somebody calls us up, I was talking with my sales guy yesterday. I said, in marketing, you're always trying to track how this person find me, right? So you could do more of that. And I said to him, I said, whenever somebody calls you up, make it really say something like, hey, did you find us from the podcast? And you're like, no, I didn't know you had a podcast. And so now you all of a sudden are giving yourself a little more credibility that you can say you have a podcast. And especially the average podcast lasts 10 episodes. It doesn't get past 10 episodes. Let me reword that. I believe most 90% of or 95% of podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. So if you've done anything for longer than 11 episodes, you're also one of the few out there that can brag about that too. So
I didn't realize that most podcasts stop after 10 episodes. And Mark, I want to go back on something that I'm curious about with your profile. So you studied that business thinking, investment sales, commercial brokerage, and then you pivoted to property management. So as far as your business, are you always making moves and pivoting in terms of opportunity costs? Or do you ever consider, what do I like doing? What am I interested in doing? Because those are really two completely different businesses, right? Being an investment sales broker versus being a property manager. So I want to know how you navigate that, maybe passion, interest versus what is more lucrative.
To be frank, I think if we're going to, from 2003 to 2015, it was about survival. I'll go where the money goes. So when the market crashed here and we were trashing out bank-owned properties and changing locks, we were doing everything we could just to make money at that time because the market was so messed up. And then I went through 15, 16, where all of a sudden I didn't have to worry about payroll next week. A lot of times when you're in survival mode early on in a business, it's like what gets you up in the morning is making sure you can make payroll next week. And when that shifted, I went through this little kind of reflection, all right, what motivates me, or why do I still like doing this? And a lot of what it came down to was now what I do now, whether it be on the podcast or or doing stuff like this, is trying to help other people 10 years behind me, not take 10 years to get where I'm at, get to it faster, made plenty of mistakes, and be able to leverage today's technology with what you could do far faster. And same with the real estate investing. I talk to a lot of people, they have a 3-year plan to buy their first property and be able to help them lay out why are you waiting 3 years? If you can't do this in 9 months, you're never going to do it. Type concept of helping people get somewhere faster. And that passion has turned into what I'm able to deliver through the vehicle of my business. But I do think if I didn't have that passion, it would be tough because then especially in a business like property management, no one calls you when they're happy. They only call you when they're pissed off. So.
And so you were in semi-survival mode from 2013 to 2015. If you were meeting an entrepreneur who's been at it for, let's say, 10 years, and they still haven't been like, oh, I can do payroll comfortably, what would you tell them? Would you tell them to push through? When do you realize maybe it's time to call it quit?
So my journey, it started in 2003. I was single. I didn't have much to lose. I had lower costs as my lifestyle. I got married, had kids, things become more costly. All of a sudden, then you have kids that you're responsible for, a wife that you got to make sure is taken care of. And so mine kind of went in this where it's it didn't really matter if I was making money to oh no, I got to make sure I'm making money to, all right, I'm making money. But I think there's some things that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do it. And I didn't do this either, is I didn't charge enough for my services. And I think that's a core reflection you should make if you are in that kind of am I going to make this or not? And then at the same time, is your market too small? Your total market of who you're actually marketing to that can actually find, because you could be the best marketer in the world, but if the people that hire you are so few and far between, and being able to find them is tough. So there's kind of a couple things there. But then at the same time, what I did a lot of later on, and I didn't do it earlier because I thought I couldn't afford it, but consultants, whether it be business coaches, life coaches, however you want to word it, getting somebody that can get intimate with you. Because here's the problem. I think a lot of times, or I struggle with this, I couldn't go home and tell my wife the troubles I was having because she'd freak out. And it's then all of a sudden, it goes from me worrying about my problems to me trying to calm her down. And it's so having somebody, a close confidant, and I had a business partner too, where it's I could go to him, but me and him were too close then at that point. We're too close in the weeds to be able to see the bigger picture. So it was in that 15, 16, 17 range where I worked with a couple different consultants, and I was in a couple small business masterminds where it's I got together 5 other entrepreneurs running small businesses. And the best part about that was those guys were all about 5-7 years ahead of me, and they're probably about double, triple the size of me, which helped me. My problems I had were nothing to these guys anymore, where they're able to walk in and be like, well, Mark, you do this, and do that, and then come back next week and then see it. You go start going do those things like, holy cow, like that was so simple. Like, how did I not see that myself? So whether it be asking for help or coaching and be able to, if you got to throw some, and again, reputable, referred, somebody that you know can get you the results you want. If it's going to cost you $10, $15, $20,000 to do something like that, it might, even though you might not be able to afford it, that might be something that's going to get you over that hump because they might be able to point out the things you're not seeing.
Absolutely. I think it is so important to be surrounded by people who are doing what you're doing for the community aspect and just have some people that you can really exchange ideas with. But if they're already like ahead of you, that's even absolutely, that's even better. And would you recommend anyone to go in business without a co-founder, or would you say this is an absolutely no-go? Always start with a co-founder.
I think that is each individual person, or it's a personal choice, I think. So for me, I'm big on partners for two reasons. One, I feel it's just easier to bounce things off of. And I guess I'll be specific where I've made mistakes before, and I see a lot of people make mistakes where they go in business with a partner that is exactly the same with them, exact same skill set. They bring the exact same thing to the table. The best partnerships are the ones that are call it yin and yang. So most of the partners I've had, there's some skill set I was missing that they made up for, and I could lean on for that. And it was vice versa. It was something that they weren't good at and couldn't do. So, for example, my partner now, like he would never get on a podcast and do something like this, but he knows that's important for the marketing. He knows it's important for having a face of the company and so forth. So. But he actually runs a company, and he's a CEO at this point, and he runs a company on a detailed level that I probably would have never been able to achieve to get us to where we're at. So definitely yin and yang there.
And I remember you mentioned that sometimes you get in trouble with your partners for being too open. What's the thing you keep saying out loud that maybe most property management company won't?
Yeah, they give you. So I'm all about helping the property management industry, and I feel there's very little secrets you can have. And part of this is when I was early on, there was no internet really, there wasn't really online. You go knock on doors, you talk to people, and no one would help me with anything. Like they had some sort of secret sauce, and that was frustrating me. And I always said, if and when I make it, I will be as open as I can with everybody else. So, for example, we met this morning with. I have a group that it's all Chicago property managers and like a mastermind. We all have to deal with the same problems. How can we help each other? But there's things in there I say that technically I'm telling my direct competitors to. But at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of, especially in our industry, that how's the saying go? Rising tides raise all ships. So if I can help my colleagues in Chicago be more successful, that ultimately will help me be more successful and ultimately have more people hire property managers versus do it themselves. And it just helps the industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And I want to go back on something you and I talked about. You really don't believe in being salesy. You believe in just saying, this is what we do, whether you're interested or you're not interested. Is that something that you developed over time, that mindset, or how did that came about?
I learned that early on as a real estate broker. And the definition of broker is really bringing two people together for mutual needs and to get them met, not stand over and tell this guy buy this and try to sell him on it. So as a real estate broker, I realized I have to figure out what his needs are and the seller's needs are, buyers and sellers' needs, and how do I bring the right two people together? And that's how you get a sale closed. And what I took on with the sales role when we call it departmentalized, it was more of like, all right, I'll add a bunch of value to you, and and you'll appreciate that, and if that makes sense, then you'll work with us. But at the end of the day, if you don't see the value in working with us based on everything we're communicating about on it might be called a sales call or whatever, but then that maybe we're not the right fit. So if we provide the service that you need that works for your circumstances in this time of your life, that's awesome. And we'll see that. We'll discover that through our conversation. But if not, then it might not make sense. And I'm not going to, don't get me wrong, we'll throw out a promotion here. You sign up by the end of the month, we'll do this. But at the end of the day, if you have to go that hard, a lot of times they're probably not the right fit as a client as well. So.
Mm-hmm. And are you automating any area of the business or thinking about automating any area of the business with AI?
Yeah, I think we think every single day about how you can automate every corner of the business.
Hmm.
But the speed that we're doing at is, I think right now everyone has this almost anxiety about like we're not doing enough. And we are doing a lot more than most of our peers, but at the same time, it's still like, how can we do more? And there's a lot of those little automations that something comes in, something over here takes a template, creates a template, and then sets it up to be sent out to the client with maybe 10% modifications, and gives you that out in 3 minutes versus
Hmm.
that task took 2 people and maybe about 2 hours of labor,
Hmm.
computer labor, admin labor. So there's a lot of those little shortcuts. There's a lot of opportunities where we have a shared inbox for our clients and our residents, where we are able to have AI or bots kind of scroll that and scan for client or resident sentiment, so we can figure out problems before they become problems, and maybe the manager could jump in before the owner's pissed and fires us, and then we look back at the emails like, oh wow, that guy's been pissed for 2 weeks. So there's a lot of those little things that help. Obviously, marketing, we're able to do that with the marketing side of things. Of there's just stupid things that we use all the time, like crawl our website just to make sure there's no broken links. Like those are some of the easy ones, or crawl our competitors' websites and let us know when new listings are popping up on there, so we can see maybe there's somebody we lost or somebody we missed out on. So there's tons of little things that these crawlers or bots can do on marketing, especially, but across our entire industry.
And so, how are you planning to implement AI when you're a business owner in real estate? How are you thinking about AI? What is the plan?
It really, the plan right now is just testing it all one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes out to be right now, it's like, man, we keep having a problem over here, or every time we do this, we're having a problem getting consistent results that every client will get for us. So it's like, all right, so how do we automate that, or how do we have a bot that will do exact same way every time, and then the human will review and approve it. So I definitely think we're in a world where AI. My goal with our team is really to just have everyone AI assisted versus replacement. So don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, we'll need less people in 5 years from now, or maybe not add people as much. But I think as an employer, we're trying to build AI to be help our employees just be happier. Property
Mm-hmm.
management sucks. Like I said before, no one calls you when they're happy. So,
Mm-hmm.
so not only do you have to deal with crappy calls, crappy emails, you have to then turn around and do a bunch of admin work. So if there's a way we can assist and make their life easier, ultimately that'd be the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember being in an office, a real estate office with investment sales, rentals, just different segments of real estate, and I was always the corner for the property management company, and all the team always looking so miserable and so stressed out, but they were also the nicest people, the nicest crew. So I always thought it's a property management is difficult. You're always dealing with problems. And speaking of problems, you've had your business for 23 years, and you probably faced a lot of ups and downs. And I want to talk about the downs. I want to talk about the shit pit. When you're going through what I call the valley of despair moment or phase, what have you felt has worked out for you? What are your mechanisms when you're going through a down phase and you need to keep going?
So I think that's changed over the years. I think early on, anytime you face the first time, someone gets a lawsuit, right? Everyone says if you're not in business long enough, you haven't been sued yet. But that first lawsuit you get, whether it was your fault or not, it's just like, oh my gosh, the world's going to end type stuff. And then even early on, even before the actual lawsuit, maybe you got just an email from an attorney like threatening a lawsuit. So early on, those were like the holy crap moments. Now, what those helped me realize is, as horrible as I feel this moment right now, 2 weeks from now, this won't be a big deal. And that was always something I got me through. Now, when you're going to talk about more serious problems, so that's just me in general with just overall problems. Whenever I get pissed in the afternoon or something about something stupid, it's usually like I stop myself and say, am I going to care about this 1 week from now? Or is this even going to be on my radar 1 week from now? So that usually helps me kind of come right down right away, which ultimately for my own well-being, but then my team's well too. Because as a leader, your emotions are very you can see them, and people will it's contagious. So the last thing I want to do is drag my team down because I'm pissed about something stupid. That's not even going to be an issue a week from now. So that's one thing that helped me. But when you're looking at the bigger problems, I think back against the wall, I've done my best work, and it just ends up being, as you grow, and is like, hey, I could fail right now, but now I'm going to let these days 59 other people down if I don't get up and do what I got to do. So if anything, you start doing it for other people, and that's what gets you out of bed. That's what motivates you, whether it be your employees or your family. I think those are two things that any downtime I have or times I question, I think every entrepreneur questions himself in different parts of seasons, but I think it just ends up being less about me and more about everyone else that depends on me.
And if you could share a piece of wisdom with mini Mark, with let's say 20-year-old Mark, about life or about business or about what his life is going to be like, what would you share?
I think one of the things that hurt us early on was just not understanding how to hire people and how to manage people. I feel I've rolled in to be a better manager these days, but I think I really was horrible at managing people early on, and I've actually called a couple people and apologized to them. And not so much, it just wasn't how you do it. And it was more of, one person didn't even remember that they, like, if I was horrible or not, but I obviously felt it. But just the way you talk to people, or how you respond to people, how you treat people, how you lift them up versus take them down, even if it's a negative thing. So the managing people thing was something that I wish I would have learned that earlier. And between the number of books and emotional intelligence type stuff that's out there these days, like it's so easy to be able to catch on to just being a better people manager these days.
Mm-hmm. And what's coming up with GC Realty, and where can people find you, Mark?
Well, so people can find me anywhere online. So you get my Instagram, Mark Ainley, REI, LinkedIn. I'm on both every single day. You can check out our website, gcrealtyinc.com. But we are in, last year we evaluated, like, do we sell the company? Do we do something else? And ultimately we decided, this is too early. This would be like selling in the fifth inning of a baseball game. And we said, let's do it. Let's put our head down. Let's grind out for the next 5 years. Let's grow this. Let's have fun. And we'll revisit this in 5-6 years. So right now we're just in this grind mode of growing, adding people to the team, figuring out the technology part, how that ties into our industry as a whole, and how we could just communicate and work with more Chicagoland investors. So it's just having fun doing it. Our podcast has picked up steam now. And we've been doing the podcast 6 years, and we're at episode 500. We'll hit 500 episodes this year. So like, there's just so much positive we got, where I think back about a year ago thinking about giving up, where it's like, dude, what idiots. That was even a dumb idea to waste the time and energy on that. So we're just kind of, let's grow.
Amazing. And congratulations on the 500. That's a big milestone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for being on the show today. It was really a pleasure having you here.
Thanks for having me, and hopefully I didn't talk too much. So I appreciate the open-ended questions that let me give it all.
No, you were perfect. And that wraps up today's episode on Parlez-Vous CEO and our special commercial real estate series. I am Anne-Lise Cailliez, and I can't wait to join you again next week. Thanks for listening to Parlez-Vous CEO today. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. It helps us keep going. And connect with us on Instagram at Parlez-Vous CEO. I am Anne-Lise Cailliez, and I know some days are harder than others. On those tough days, think back to why you started. What you're doing today matters, even when you can't see the results yet. Ideas are great, but it's what you do with them that counts. Find everything we talked about today at parlezvousceo.com. See you next week, and you've got this.